Welcome back to the True Crime Lounge podcast on Spotify and YouTube. I have a Patreon that you can join for episodes scheduled to come out. I also have a merch shop for all your true crime gear. For any updates on my channel and podcast, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. With that being said, let's dive into today's episode. Today we are going to be talking about the case that led to Alicia's Law being created. What exactly is Alicia's Law? Who is the person behind Alicia's Law? In Arizona. Today we are going to be discussing the case of Alicia Kozakiewicz. Um, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that up. I'm terrible with names. And how she was raised in extreme awareness for the internet. So Alicia works alongside Protect to secure passage for her namesake. Alicia's Law in not one, but 50 states. Today, due to a lack of dedicated federal resources, there are less than 2% known child exploitation cases being investigated, and her law provides a dedicated steady stream of state specific funding to the ICAC, in which is the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Creating a new revenue stream, Alicia's Law builds a permanent capacity for child rescuing teams. The avenue that will not fall victim to fights over or cuts to the general budget. Alicia's Law focuses on securing state funding for ICAC task forces, and there is a network of 61 task forces that make up the backbone of the U.S. capacity to fight child exploitation. The success and the impact of Alicia's Law are measured solely in arrest of child rescues. No funding is earmarked in nonprofit organizations or related purposes. So, who exactly is Alicia? Well, Alicia, who also goes by Kozak, is a motivational speaker, um, internet safety expert, missing persons advocate, and TV personality. She has inspired over millions of people through her person through her in-person and on-screen appearances. Her she has an extraordinary life story that exemplifies many strengths, and she's chosen to not only be bitter about it, but to make something the best out of this situation and choosing to educate people on it. But we all know that the internet can be a dangerous place. See, here's the thing. I grew up in a time when the internet was new and exciting, but now it's like this is what the generation we have today after me, because I'm a Gen Z, meets millennial. I'm on the cusp of it, but the generation after us is all they know. Like I wasn't allowed to have a computer growing up, so but it's like this generation now. It's like okay, so learning. So internet safety is something like you don't know it until it's like it's new and exciting right here. But this is not it's not new anymore and we need to be more aware of what's going on. But Alicia founded the Alicia Project for the past 17 years, and she pioneered internet safety and sexual exploitation awareness. She is one of the most vocal and outspoken advocates for child safety legislation. She testified before Congress and works to pass Alicia's Law and to provide ICAC task forces for enabling and rescuing endangered children. She was formerly part of the ICMEC, the International for Missing and Exploited Children, as the Director of Outreach and Global Impact. As ICMEC's spokesperson, she used the platform to protect children globally, and as a member of ICMEC, she worked toward the prevention, response, recovery, and healing from every missing, sexually abused, and exploited children to make certain that no child stands alone. Kozak talks about her adoption and the miracle of how her rescue and how parents and children can protect themselves from online predators. She was abducted by a sexual predator and that she met online as a 13-year-old in 2002 and was held captive in a dungeon for 4 days before she was rescued. She remembers thinking that she wasn't leaving her captor's dungeon after 4 days of rape and abuse. She was 13 when an online predator lured her from her parents' house in Pittsburgh on January 1st, 2002. Drove her to Virginia and chained her to a basement. He pulled a locking doll collar around her neck, dragged her into a dungeon, and raped her. He also chained her into the floor with the doll collar next to her bed, where she was raped and beaten and tortured in that house for 4 days. As a 13-year-old in 2002, she was tricked by an online predator, kidnapped, and held captive in Virginia for 4 days before she was being rescued by the FBI. On the fourth day, her attacker, whose name we she will not speak, told her that she was beginning to like told her that he was beginning to like her too, and that tonight they were going for a ride, and she knew in that moment there was nothing she could do. She knew he was going to kill her, as she accepted was and she thought would be her inevitable fate. Kozak thought about her parents and how much they loved her. And she talked about like what kept her going was the fact that she knew it was unlikely that she was going to make it out alive. Before that ride, her captor promised that Kozak heard banging against the door and angry voices shouting. She didn't know at the time that the FBI, there was originally an all clear, but she thinks that she made enough noise because one of them agents shouted, "Movement over here." Hmm. The dragon would go cold with the heavy chains out and and she would put her hands up, but also trying to cover herself at the same time because she was not dressed at all. And had a gun and he was staring at her. The FBI returned her home safely to her parents, who flanked their 13-year-old daughter wearing oversized sweater and the FBI hat that squashed in front of the Pittsburgh Post Gazette. Kozak said it was a miracle that she was found. And another way for her to say miracle is luck, and that children's safety shouldn't be left up to luck. So she turned what happened to her into something good, trying to educate people on this topic right here. Her captor live streamed the abuse. Someone who saw the video recognized her and from a missing persons person in the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and called the police. Kozak was one of the first widely covered cases of internet related child abduction, but she also had only one perverse and rampant for 20 years that she was rescued. Kids would want to be social media. Here's the thing. This is influence culture we have today. Really thanks to COVID, it's been more increasing. Like kids don't really like some of these influencers really need to understand how safety really works. I hate to say that, but some of them do and don't understand that concept. Alicia's story has been Alicia has been using her traumatic experience to help others teach children about internet safety. And, in fact, it happened in a high profile case a few weeks ago, when a 13-year old, well, some time ago, when a 13-year-old Texas girl was allegedly kidnapped by a man she, she was talking to online in Fountain Shed, North Carolina. A study of children who went missing in 1999 found that about 40% of victims in stereotypical kidnappings have died. But Alicia has been working with lawmakers to get Alicia's law. And it's important that we understand it. And by creating this new revenue source, Alicia's law builds a permanent capacity for child rescue teams. In a handful of states, including Virginia, California, Idaho, Kentucky, Texas, Tennessee, and Arizona, Hawaii, and Washington, have all enacted Alicia's law. Alright, that's it for today's episode. I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a great day.